See, there comes a point in everybody's story where you have to transition from becoming to being. Every superhero movie you've ever seen starts out with the individual as just a regular person. They are just a puddle of raw potential. They are nowhere near their final form. They then go through some sort of transformational process, which changes them. And this transformational process, as you can imagine, is usually pretty intense. And it is essentially a death and rebirth. It's a death of their old self, of their mediocre self, and a birth into who they could become. So at this point in their journey, they start the becoming process. But this process of becoming a superhero, of stepping in to your potential, is no easy process. It requires a lot of work, a lot of discipline, a lot of self-sacrifice, a lot of self-discovery. You have to discover what your talents are, your potential, your interest, right? I talk about this all the time. When we are in our initial phase, the things we like and the things we do and the things we talk about and our beliefs are not ours. They are what has been programmed into us. And so once that's removed, once that initial programming is removed during the death and rebirth cycle, we then have to discover who we are. You have to discover your purpose and your path. I can tell you from experience, is no easy task. It can oftentimes leave you feeling lost and confused and frustrated because you feel your potential inside you. You feel your power, but you don't know where to go. You don't know what direction to head. But if you keep putting in the work, you keep taking leaps of faith, you keep trusting your intuition, you will eventually find it. And then once you find it, this is when you have to step into the process of becoming who you were meant to be, right? There's a moment when Superman stops trying to become Superman and is Superman. Or Neo goes from being John Anderson, who then unplugs from the Matrix, who then receives downloads and begins his training. And then in one moment, he steps in and he becomes Neo. He becomes the chosen one. And this is not just regulated to superheroes. Real people embody this. See, Michael Jordan was not always Michael Jordan. There was a point where he was just a kid who loved basketball and maybe had potential. But he was not Michael Jordan. But through hard work and discipline, there was a moment when he became Michael Jordan, right? When his mere presence on the court struck fear into his opponents, when entire teams would change their whole game plan because they knew they were playing against Michael Jordan. Same thing for someone like Tom Brady. He was not always Tom Brady. There was a moment when he became Tom Brady. Or when Joe Dispenza became Joe Dispenza, right? When people step into their final form. So turning it back to you and your journey, you are in the process of writing your story right now. And if your story is to be any good, right, if anyone is to care about your story, you need a point in your story where you step in to your final form. While this should be obvious, I just want to point out that once you are in your final form, it doesn't necessarily mean everything's all good, right? You will still have challenges. There will be times where you'll probably even get your ass kicked as your final form, but you will continue to learn and you will continue to grow. But when you are in your final form, the beauty of it is that's when you step into your confidence. That's when you know who you are. That's when you know you have the tools to confront any challenge, right? You have the tools to slay many dragons. So the journey from going from your raw potential, from your initial programming through the death and rebirth process, through the self-discovery and becoming process, and then the final form process. This does not happen overnight, right? You don't wake up one day and all of a sudden you're Superman. You don't wake up one day and automatically you're the chosen one and you've unplugged from the matrix and you are saving humanity from the machines. That's not how it works, right? This is a process, this is a journey, and it's something that will probably play out over many years. For example, let's say, and this is probably being very conservative, let's say it will take you a minimum of 10 years, right, to go from your raw potential into your final form. If that's true, then I've got a question for you. What are you waiting for? You are writing your own story, but here's the thing. There's a limited amount of time to write your story. So if it's going to take you 10 years to get there, to step into your final form, to get into the point where you actually start making a difference, where you actually start having some legit enjoyment out of life, what are you waiting for? Every day that you procrastinate, every day that you put off the work, every day that you claim to be too tired, you are pushing your destiny back. You know, way too many people never get close to their final form. Their story ends and they're still stuck in their initial phase, or they're still stuck in their healing phase, or they're still stuck in their becoming phase. They spend all this time studying, researching, acquiring more information, I just need one more class, I just need to read one more book. And then one day the clock runs out and the story ends. So at this moment, you have a choice to pursue your final form like your life depends on it and write a story worth reading, or you can give up, right? You could watch somebody else's story. The choice is yours. You are the author, director, producer, and star of your own show, of your own movie. You do what you want. See you on the other side.